What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how to submit a card to PSA. What I mean by that, not the whole process. I'm just showing you how to set up a package, I guess, or like everything that goes into a package, and how you basically want to submit it to PSA. So PSA does have a lot of this useful information on their website for how to do this. And this is not strictly for PSA. You can do the same method that we're about to show you to BGS or SGC or basically any other grading company. There's a lot of like visual guides on PSA's website. If you dig deep enough, you will find something, but here's a video, I guess, to make it easier for some of you. But we are going to be starting with Lionel Messi. And yeah, if you guys enjoy this kind of content, consider dropping a like down below and subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and it really helps us grow as a channel. So thank you for all your support, guys. But yeah, here we go. Step number 1. So we've already skipped past step 0, I guess, because I would consider that the card outside of the sleeve. So what you want to do is when you get a card, you want to make sure that, you know, and we're not going to get into too many details because it's not part of this video, but you're going to want to inspect the surface of the card, you know, the back, the corners, the typical stuff you do when you submit cards to get them graded. But you want to make sure that the card is worthy of submission. Unless it's like vintage, then if it's something just really, really rare, then the grade doesn't really matter, because if there's only like one of I don't know, like some legendary players, like, and it's in PSA 3, like it doesn't really matter because you're the only one who has it. But that's besides the point. And what I'm going to show you guys here is that if you're not familiar at this point, and I'm sure a lot of people are, you want to get one of these card sleeves, which are, you know, called penny sleeves. And the reason why they're called penny sleeves is because before the pandemic, so you get like 100 sleeves in one of these, and this whole thing was like $1. And now you can't really find these at stores for $1. People kind of maybe sell them for like $2, $3. Really just depends on the kind of store. But if you can find them at $1, then that's that seller being really nice, or being proper, I guess. But you want to take your card, you want to slide it into a sleeve like this, basically. And sometimes people, you know, make cuts on the sleeve so they don't damage the corners when they're putting the cards in and all that stuff. We've shown it in several videos in the past, but the trickiest part is what to do, or like what's the best way to put it into this card saver. So what this card saver is this is the recommended brand by PSA. And, you know, a lot of people say like, okay, maybe PSA has a say in this, maybe they make money off of this when they get like card savers, that's why they recommend them. But in my opinion, initially when I worked with these were very, very rough, but over time these became really easy. And this is my preference, just because it gives you a lot of leeway. So card saver, you can find them on like Amazon, eBay, like, I don't know, Dave & Adams. Any store really has them. Even your local card shop has them. But don't get them mixed up with Card Saver 2 or Card Saver 3. People who aren't really experienced with this will get them mixed up. And what those are, basically, they're a narrower version of this and maybe a smaller version. So those will not, it'll be very hard to put these cards in here, and you can risk damaging those if you don't put them in a Card Saver 1. So just FYI. So here's a moment of truth, guys. This is the trickiest part that people typically struggle with, but actually I just realized. So when you submit this, you want to make it, I guess you want to make the life of the grader as easy as possible, so that maybe they don't damage your card, or they don't struggle while getting it out, so that they're in a better mood when they're grading your card. So you want to get one of these like tabs, basically, like one of these like little sticky tabs, and you want to stick it like on top of the card, kind of like that. Obviously not on the card, on the penny sleeve. Do not stick anything on any card whatsoever. And then when you put it in here, it's easier for the person to pull it out. So, and I'm going to do 2 rounds. I'll show you how to put it in, and then I'll take it out, and then I'll just put it back in and then show you the final part of the whole thing. So the trick to this is that you might feel like initially when you're doing this a few times, you know, practice with a card that you're not actually going to submit. I'm actually going to submit this. I just wanted to show you guys like how careful you should be. But you should practice with like base cards or cards that you don't really care about, putting them inside the sleeve and out. But what you basically want to do, at least this is what I do, and it works for me all the time. So you want to basically take this side of the card saver, kind of like, I'm not putting any like major force on this. I'm just pushing this outside while I'm pushing this one in the opposite direction. So I'm kind of opening it like this, right? The whole thing's not going to open. So this is going to be tight towards the bottom. So you're going to open it like this, and then you're going to kind of maybe stick a thumb in there to kind of widen things out if it's not completely like detached. So now at least you can see the line in the bottom. Hoping this is going to show on the video. But then you keep it open like this with one hand. So I'm squeezing on the sides. That's how I'm doing this. So initially I do this, I open it with my thumb, and then I do this. And once it's open, I hold it. And I don't know if you guys just heard that. Sometimes you will hear that. So that's a good sign when you hear like the plastic making that noise, which means it's kind of open like that. Obviously you don't want to hold it open too long. Otherwise you're going to deform the sleeve. But you know, it's made to be durable. So I'm just showing you for the sake of not going too fast. But then you want to take the card while you're holding this with one hand, and then you want to slide the card in. Hold on. I've never done this in front of a camera before, so it's kind of tricky. All right. So you take the card and you put it in like such. You don't want to press on it that hard at all, actually. So you want to hold it from the very, very top. I'm holding this extremely gently. I'm not even squeezing on the card at all. And then you just kind of like push it in. And by push, I mean you just like let it slide in. You don't have to push it all the way to the bottom. You know, you can if you want the card to be more secure, if you don't want it to like slide out during shipping. But this is basically it. You know, it's fully in the sleeve, and it's not going anywhere, guys. Like this is made to kind of hold or press the card very, very slightly so that it doesn't slide out. You know, there is always a risk, you know, if there's a lot of force, pushes the card if you don't package it properly, like all that kind of stuff. But if you do feel kind of sketched out, you can push it down all the way to the bottom if you want. I personally don't. I'm personally okay with just kind of, you know, maybe that far even. And so what I was telling you about making it easier for the grader, whoever's taking these cards out before grading, when you put this tab, you know, you just pull it out like this. It's very, very easy. Of course, you want to make sure that it's not one that's used. You use a brand new one, so it doesn't, like when it's, for whatever reason, someone pulls it out, the card just falls and then you're in trouble. But because yeah, I honestly don't know how they handle that kind of stuff. Like, is it their fault? Is it our fault? But I'm pretty sure if you try to call them and tell them it's their fault, they're going to make a big deal of it. Even if they own up to it at the very end, they're going to make it very, very long and difficult for you to, say that they dropped the card. So hopefully no one gets to that point. That's why we're showing you guys this like very, very slowly. So hopefully you guys saw that second time how I put it in. Very, very smooth, very easy. So yeah, before you try it, test it out with some base cards you don't care about. You know, trial and error until you get it right. And a lot of the stuff, you know, these two things you can get from like hobby stores, online, wherever. These things you can probably get from Target or like Office Max or whatever. And yeah, so the step after this, you want to take like 2 pieces of cardboard like this. And this is basically to protect the card from, you know, whatever reason, some object outside of the box hits the box and then the card gets squished or whatever. You kind of want to add some sort of reinforcement, which is what cardboard is good for. So you want to sandwich the card like this. And when you're doing like multi-card submissions, you want to stack them in the order that you submitted. And you know, on the PSA forums, they'll guide you through all that. They'll tell you all these steps. So they make it as like, I don't know, not as confusing as much as possible. So anyway, you want to take this other cardboard piece, you want to sandwich this. And then I've been using rubber bands for a very long time. I recommend it. I'm pretty sure it's because whoever at the PSA facility doesn't want to deal with tape, you know, it creates a lot of headache for them. So they do recommend that you use rubber bands. And also you can get these at probably Target or Office Max. You know, any rubber band will do. Like, you just have to make sure it's not gonna rip, and it's not too tight. Like this has some leeway, but it's not gonna, like, this isn't gonna move. So you want to use a rubber band that's not too loose, and not too tight. So you see that I have like 2 different rubber band kinds. That's just because I have a pack of like 1,000 of them, and they're all different shapes and sizes. But these 2 I found work. And if you feel like maybe this will, like, over time it'll like rip or something, you know, use 2. Just do whatever makes you comfortable, whatever you think is gonna make this as safe as possible. And when you put this, or when you submit this, do not send this in like a bubble mailer. I like highly advise against that. I've never done it, but I can only imagine all the things that can happen to it. You know, boxes get squished. Imagine like worst case scenario for a bubble mailer, even if it's in cardboard. So what I would do is I typically would take this piece of cardboard, you know, I'd wrap it in maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 layers of like bubble wrap or whatever, anything that could basically keep it in the box from like moving around. So if you put it in the box, surround it, you know, even if you have like packing paper or whatever, basically something that the card isn't rocking and like hitting on the box's sides, like back and forth. So yeah, and that's basically it. You do want to put it in a box, you know, big enough box. Don't Don't like put it in a box that's like barely the dimensions of this cardboard so that you're like squeezing it, because you are going to have to put your submission form in the box as well. So make sure there's room enough or enough room for that. And that's basically it. You just tape it from, I don't know, maybe two or three directions. If you want to be really safe for like weather, you always want to make sure that you're sealing like any openings or any of the edges. Put like a side of tape and then just like fold it like 90 degrees, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, and then that's it. And then you send it to the address that they show you on the submission form. But yeah, hopefully that wasn't, you know, this is obviously a beginner video. So if you're a pro at submitting things, or if you're like already done it a few times, hopefully you got some sort of piece of information from this that you didn't know before. But this is just my personal recommendation. There's a lot of different methods to do this. It works for me. I got, I guess, a fair amount of gem mint 10s, so it's not bad. You know, at least 50% and higher is what we aim for. 60 to 70% is ideal, which does happen sometimes, but not all the time. So hopefully this was very helpful for you guys. And if you decide to submit, good luck. Hopefully this helped you a lot, actually, because I know a lot of people have been asking for this kind of video. So yeah, if you have any questions, just shoot me a message on Instagram, you know, send me an email or reach out through Discord, and we'll be happy to help you out with any other questions you might have. We always have other members that will answer for me when I'm not available or I'm like really busy. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Again, hope this helped you guys out. And stick around for more content, reviews, group breaks, and giveaways. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.